rip now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Appetite for Discussion show with your host, Brendan Crouch.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. This is our episode of Appetite for Discussion with Mr. Jeremy Shaw of the Cedar Stump Pub in downtown Troutman. Hey, man, you're very welcome. I got to tell you, you were the first person to ever pull up in the coolest. What kind of van is that?
Well, I call it the Stump Wagon.
Well, when he pulled up, I was like, wait a minute, he's on the wrong side. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's actually a Mitsubishi Delica, man. I've really been looking at these vans for like the last 3 years. You know, did my due diligence, learned about them, and I tell you what, man, turbo diesel, four-wheel drive, you can't go wrong, man. Eight of your buddies in the back or 8 of your customers taking them home, it both works.
So, what is it that drew you? Oh, and by the way, you brought us a little
Elijah Craig.
Yeah, let's open that up and take a sip.
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do the honors.
So, what drew you to that type of a vehicle? And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you know, when you're listening to this, stop, Google, and this is what this guy rolled up here on, and it was magic.
It is.
It is.
It is. It's the magic ride.
It's one of those vehicles you see somebody riding in it and it just brings a smile to your face.
You know what? And it attracts the right people. I tell you, the people that flag you down, they've got a great sense of humor and they want to talk about it. And once I put the wrap on there, it'll definitely draw some attention to the stump. Yeah, cheers, man. Chindan, 100 years.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. So what is it that drew you to that magical vehicle?
So I started a DJ business back, I was 22, 23 in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where I went to school.
Okay. Down
at the coast. And I needed a van and I was low on funds and I came across a Toyota van wagon.
Okay.
And this thing was built in '89, and it was in fact a four-wheel drive, push-button four-wheel drive van, and it had one of the best engines ever made, a 22R. If anybody's a Toyota fan, they know what that engine is. And man, all I had to do was put a fuel pump in it, and that thing was ready for the road. And I used to say a little prayer and rub the top of the dash, praying that it would make it to the gig. And I tell you what, I drove that thing for like 2.5 years, and it was my tank, man. Hell, I even drove it down to Florida and got married.
No.
Yeah, I swear, 2 times we drove it to Florida. I drove it up to New Hampshire, and anyway, it's the same style van.
Yeah.
And the only thing was the power, and I was looking around like, what could I do to you know, kind of had the same style, but a little bit more power. And this Mitsubishi Delica rolled up and turbo diesel, you know, burn a little coal when you put the hammer down. It's pretty badass.
I think I remember when I was in elementary school, a friend of mine, I think Christian's parents drove one because it looks almost like an old Jetson van kind of.
Well, the Scooby-Doo,
it was
you know.
Up front, you know, it was kind of more narrow but a little tall.
Yeah, you're sitting on the tires. And I tell you, it's a hell of a ride, man. It's I mean, the suspension that I got on that thing, being a true four-wheel drive, I'm just riding on the clouds, man. It's awesome.
Well, dude, I think it's awesome. And when you said you're going to get a wrap on it?
Yeah, going to get a full wrap. And now that I'm opening up the second location, I'll put the Cedar Stump logo in Troutman on one side and the Statesville logo on the next, so on the other. So, promote both pubs all in one vehicle.
So how did you end up opening up? How did you go from DJ, where you still DJ,
right,
to pub owner?
So in Wilmington, I met my wife now, girlfriend at the time, at O'Charlie's. And, man, I was working double shifts trying to make ends meet, putting myself through school, you know, and she actually got a job as a bartender, cocktail waitress at a nightclub. And she's like, hey, they're looking for a valet, you know? And I was like, sign me up. Anything's better than, you know, running this food all day. And, you know, so long story short, I was valet outside for about 1.5 years, 2 years, you know, put myself through school. And one day the DJ literally just did a no-call, no-show. And they asked me to come in. I told them I wasn't afraid of the microphone, you know, that put me in, coach, you know. And one thing led to the other, and started DJing at the club. And then once I turned 21, became an assistant manager. 24, became GM. And that's how I got into the nightclubs. But learning the DJ side of things, I always kept that in my back pocket. You always need that extra flame, you know, in the fire there to bring some income. So you never want to put your all eggs in one basket. And man, I started Soundwave DJ and Entertainment and started getting into the wedding scene. It's more money in the wedding scene than it is the nightclub scene. And one thing led to the next. And man, I was, you know, a preferred vendor at 6 or 7 locations in downtown Wilmington, and just decided to bring it here to good old state Vegas. And
That's
Troutman.
Right. T-Town. Mm-hmm. So that's crazy how a no-show opens up a door and an opportunity for somebody.
There's doors always opening. You just got to be smart enough to take them, brother. You
See, man, that's just it. I don't think I'm smart enough to find them, Julius. I'm always looking in the dark at the wall and pressing on stuff, looking for that door.
Yeah.
So what took you to the Troutman area?
So that little hottie I was telling you about, the wifey, Sheena Bailey is what took me to Troutman. You know, our 4-year plan turned into a 8-year plan, but who's counting? You know, when you're at the beach, you living the beach life. I was a beach bum for a while, but you know, I couldn't take full semesters, having to work full time, and
sure.
But yeah, you know, one day we were out at Carolina Beach. I had a Jeep Wrangler. And we were out there on Freeman. It's called Freeman Park. Mm-hmm. You can actually take your four-wheel drives out on the beach, you know. And we looked at each other. We were about 26 at the time, and we were like, if we're ever going to grow up, we got to get out of here, you know. And we've been together since I was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, she loved me when I was fixing DiGiorno pizzas and renting Blockbusters, you know what I mean?
Man, Blockbusters, that's something you don't hear from, right?
Right. So we decided to pack up our bags and head out west. Here we are, Troutman, North Carolina. So she graduated from South Iredell and was born and raised in Mooresville.
Okay.
Well, born in Alaska, but raised in Mooresville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's two totally different places, huh?
No shit.
Yeah.
Alaska. Was her parents from there? Was her dad military?
Yeah, her father was. Yeah.
Okay.
He's still got family that's there, but
now have you ventured up to Alaska?
No, we're gonna plan on doing that like maybe 3 more years when the kids get a little older, so we can take them. You know,
because you have a child.
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old daughter, Ezra. She's my everything, and
that's awesome.
Man, I'm super blessed. I've got another one on the way coming in September.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah, another little girl, Willow. Well, Sage Willow Shaw is her name, but we haven't decided if we're gonna call her Willow or call her Sage, but we just can't wait till she gets here. It's going to be great, man.
Either one is beautiful and unique.
Thank you, brother.
So congratulations to those. So that's what brought you to Troutman. And so what led you to the vision of Troutman, which they do, and they did, need a pub, a bar, period. Are you the only game in town? Seriously?
Yes, sir. The only game in town thus far. I'm sure there's going to be somebody trying to get in.
It's good to have it on lockdown for a while.
Well, you know, you ride the wave until it runs out. But no, I just, you know, when I came here, I felt right at home. I'm originally from a little town called Graham, North Carolina. It's right beside Burlington.
Yeah.
In Alamance County. And man, the feel here was awesome. The people here were awesome. They're genuine. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's no other place I've been to where people will hold up traffic to let you pull out a food line. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's true. Awesome, man. I mean, the people here are just great. And I just felt like nobody really gave the town a chance. I mean, there's been a couple pubs and bars here in the past, and not sure if it was mismanagement or whatnot. You know, that's a whole nother topic, but it's none of my business really. But I knew the type of people that were here and the type of town that we have there and how it's growing. This was the time to make a move. It was the time to make the chess move. So, man, I jumped off the high dive and prayed the water was deep enough. You know?
And it's worked out because you've been open 2 years? Has it been 2 years?
Well, I've had at least 2 years. I'm actually got to renew the lease this month. However, a year and 4 months I've been open.
A year and 4 months.
December 19th, 2017 was my opening date.
Graham, North Carolina, this is a random, and I could be wrong on this, so somebody can fact check me, but the only thing I know about Graham, North Carolina, isn't that where Jimmy Graham's from, the tight end in the NFL?
No, John Boy and Billy. John Boy's from Graham.
John Boy's from Graham?
Yeah, dude. He used to come to
Google Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, he used to come to my school. His sister was my librarian.
Get out of here.
It was awesome. And he would do like pep talks and stuff, and super nice guy. And I tell you, man, I'd have to say John Boy kind of led me to even want to get behind the microphone.
I'm sure.
That guy sells bottled water, barbecue sauce, anything with his name or his face. He's killing it.
But isn't it great? But that brings up a point you said earlier before we started the show. Money is out there. People who say you can't go out there and make money, they're not paying attention.
It's just,
they're not getting after it.
I read a quote one day. It said, either you go out and build your own dreams or somebody's going to hire you to build theirs,
Damn.
And for me, it was just, man, if I'm going to put my effort and energy and hours and hard-earned sweat and work, I want it to be for myself, man.
I get it.
Yeah, and if you go out there and beat the bushes and just be genuine, go by the golden rule, man. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and, man, good things will happen, man.
I believe that.
Yeah.
And that is a great saying. I think he's been on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I tell you, I can't, don't quote me. It was someone else that I heard. It just resonated, and I've held on to that one, man.
So you've been open now for 1 year and 4 months, and how did you land on the name the Cedar Stump Pub?
Well, I had a boss that I worked for at the when I was doing, running nightclubs, and he was into chainsaw carvings, and I was like, hey, I'd like to learn how to do that. That's pretty cool, Get on the creative side, come up with something awesome with a chainsaw. I love the sound of a two-stroke, and I'm into motocross, so. The smell of the mixed gas. I mean, that's right down my alley. And, I've always liked to kind of, get in on the creative side that I got. And so I started doing these chainsaw carvings, and anytime I mess with cedar, you just never know what you're going to get when you cut inside of it. You got the white outside and the purple in the inside. It was just always beautiful.
I have no idea. I want you to understand something. I know pretty much nothing about everything. So when you're talking about this, I have no idea what you're talking about with cedar wood. So
cedar's unique. It's really the only wood out there that has its own natural pesticides. Like no bugs can even eat into it. The only thing I've ever seen is like carpenter ants that'll get in there. But it's just beautiful wood, and it's when you cut into it, the smell alone will just put a smile on your face. And then if you're carving at night in the middle of winter, you put the extra wood in the fire, and it smells good. I mean, everything about cedar is great, And I just I took the chainsaw carving thing and just took it to the next level. I was thinking about the hickory stump at one point, and they got the Hickory Tavern and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I love cedar. Let's call it a Cedar Stump Pub.
There you go.
Come rest your rump at the stump.
Cheers to that.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
Hey, that's actually a really cool jingle. Do you have that anywhere? If not, you should.
Yeah, I've actually got my lawyer right now. Going ahead and trademarking that. So,
you should, man.
Absolutely.
Rest your hump on the stump.
Rest your rump
on the stump.
At the stump. There you go. Yeah.
That's good. Now, so cedar, do they still use that in closets?
Yeah. So a lot of, especially in the older era. And that's the whole deal was, it keeps the bugs away and the smell and, any kind of, well, I guess in some closets you get that like what is it, like the mothballs they put in there and stuff like that. So use cedar, you don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah.
I think when you said older, like an older generation would do that. When we bought our house is 30 years old, and we bought it 3 years ago. We found out that we were having twins.
Man, congratulations,
thank
brother.
You. Yeah. Hey, Dip and Sully. But so we, as an older family, and they had moved away to Georgia, and the house had been empty for a few years. But when I opened up, my little side of the closet that my wife let me have, and opened up the drawers, and that must have been the gentleman's drawers, because he had these cedar blocks that were in there. And
smart man.
It is a smart man, but you could just still barely smell them. And I've been looking for like cedar blocks, working off, because there is something. You're right. There is something about that smell that it just smells good and it makes you smile.
It does, buddy. I'll tell you what. I've got some extra scrap wood, man. I'll get you some cedar blocks, man. No problem.
I did want to ask you this: where did you get? Because if you haven't stopped by the Stump, you should go check it out. It's such a really cool inside atmosphere, but your outside area is magical.
Thank you, brother. Yes, that was a lot of hard work.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
You can tell it was hard work, but it paid off.
Yes, sir.
But the cedar stuff, like the little round stuff you put your beer on the wall,
the half round moon,
the
half moons,
yeah. How did you cut those yourself?
Yeah, so talking about Alaska earlier, it's a setup that you can put on your saw. It's called an Alaskan chainsaw setup, and literally it's clamps down on your bar, and then you're able to adjust how thick you want your wood to be cut, whether it's 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, And so literally, man, it was just a log that I had cut down, and you get the saw going and do your 2-inch cuts, and you just run it. You just run it. Yeah. It's super cool, and it's a lot of fun. You almost need a buddy there to help you guide it, especially when you have a big log. But all that stuff was hand cut, all of it. Yeah, and it's all local cedar. Right
Is it
here.
really?
Yes, sir. Right out of North Carolina, which ties into my, whole drink local, live social idea there.
Right.
Everything that I have on tap is within a 50-mile radius of us, as far as the beers go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, all the craft beer on tap. We got 12 taps. All of it's local, man.
Yeah.
I'd rather support a local guy to put, clothes on his kids' back rather than support a CEO's, other sports car. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what it's about, brother.
Isn't it crazy how the big companies too, like they don't even pay federal taxes, like Amazon.
How do they get away with that?
I don't know. So Amazon made like $220 billion, profited $11 billion, paid zero. Yeah. But guess what? I love that 2-day Prime.
Hey, listen, man. I'm not going to knock it.
Necessary evil.
I'm not going to knock it by no means, especially when the drones start getting in action, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
What's crazy is I've seen that little Amazon little van. It's all gray and it has Prime check going down the side in Troutman.
Yep.
And I'm like, now how did that sucker end up in Troutman?
Well, it's, what is it, Highway 3. You take it down, headed to Concord. I think their headquarters is right there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Damn. So did you design the inside of that place yourself?
I did. Now, I got to give my wife, Sheena Shaw, some credit. She picked out the color scheme. But, as far as the pictures and the artwork that's in there, all my musicians that's on the wall, I have to give props to my best friend back at home, Brian Collins. He did all the artwork in there.
Brian Collins, does he have a website?
Actually, you can go through his Instagram. It's _ Brian Collins _ and this guy, he had a hobby that's turned into a full-time business for him, and I cannot wait for the pictures that he's making for the new spot, man. We got 10 that we're putting up. So.
I'll in the description on the podcast and on YouTube, I'll put that his Instagram _ Brian Collins _
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put that up there and help promote it. Yeah, man.
And my buddy Justin Miller, he helped me through this whole process building the bar, and we actually drug the logs out of the woods together. And the business there is Shaw Mills Custom Woodwork. So his last name's Miller, my last name's Shaw. Shaw Mills Custom Woodwork. We encompass everything.
So what led you to, of all the businesses you could have started? I mean, you have an entrepreneurial spirit for sure. So how did you come across I want to open up a bar or a pub?
I tell you, man, I'm an entertainer. I wouldn't say entertainer. I would say I'm more of a just a waiter at heart, or what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm on the spot live. For me, being able to have someone sit down in my establishment and let me put a smile on their face, and let's have some good vibes and bring in some great music. That's what it's all about. You know Absolutely. What I mean? I think everybody gets caught up in the rat race that we have, nowadays. And one thing with a pub, whether you're happy or you're sad, you're gonna come and have a cold cocktail.
That's
you know what I mean? And sometimes when you're sad, it's my job to maybe flip that 180 degrees and make you happy, and it's just one of those things, man. I've always been a host at heart. That's what I was looking for.
I like it. A host at heart. It's one of those things where I've always thought, if I was uber wealthy or rich, I would love to host a huge party, like a bash. For example, my 40th birthday is coming up. I'd love to host a big
Cedar
bash.
Stump.
Cedar Stump. Well, but the thing is, there's a part of me that wants to have this big party with bands, playing throughout the day and everybody having a good time, but actually never show up. Because it's really not about my birthday. It's about people coming together and having a good time. And just name it something random too, like Skeeter Fest 2020, whatever.
I get it. You know, it's the social aspect that I love. You know, like we call it the Cedar Stump Pub, but it's really a social club. Everybody that's in there talks. I mean, when I have people sit down on bartending, I introduce each other. Hey, man, you know, this is Bob. He's from East Statesville. Hey, this is, you know, Evelyn.
But isn't that cool? I mean, you're actually introducing people and you're sparking up conversation. So two people who would never talk to one another would actually be introduced and find some common ground or learn something from one another, which is one of the multiple reasons that I did this show.
Just the other day, we had a couple guys in there. They lived 4 houses down from each other in the same neighborhood and never met. Now they come into the stump together all the time, and I'm just like, boom, baby, you know?
You're welcome.
That's it.
That's right.
And that's what it's about, man. It's all about everybody just living social, you know? Put your cell phones down.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, let's talk, you know?
I think you've listened to this show before.
Couple times.
You know, the interesting thing, too, because of this show, I was in your, well, he's a friend of mine, too, but Brian Mandigo has a band called Black Demise, and I was in your bar probably a month or 6 weeks ago. And I saw a guy in the corner, his bald-headed dude, big old guy, and he had a shirt on that said Black Demise. And I was like, I told my wife, there's not one person in this bar that knows that shirt. So I walked in and I was like, hey, man, I like your shirt. And I was like, you like Black Demise, Brian Mandigo? And he's like, yeah. I was like, nice shirt.
There's a one-legged duck swim in a circle.
That's right. So you've been there, you've opened the bar, you like Cedar,
I like people.
And you like people.
I like live music.
You like to host.
I like live music. You know, I like entertaining.
And so, but now, luckily, you've been so successful and people like it, you're actually branching out into, you're dipping your toe into the Statesville market, right?
Absolutely. Well, you know, it's, I've learned that there's so much opportunity in Statesville, and it's yet again that East Statesville area, nobody seems to want to give that location a fair chance. And I got my buddy Justin Miller, who I was mentioning earlier, where we do a lot of our wood carving and woodwork at his house. He lives on that side of town. Mm-hmm. And every time I'd go into the food line, I mean, just some of the most friendliest people, you know? And I was like, this is a little Troutman.
It kind of in a way.
I mean, you know, you got your Eagle Rentals, you got your food line, you got your Dollar General, you got your auto parts store.
That's it, man.
You know, and I was like, let me do some due diligence here, do some homework. So, man, I sat out in front of that parking lot where that empty, where I'm at now, it was vacant. You know, it was for rent, and man, I counted over 700 cars from 4 to 6 p.m.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn! If you could just get 10% of the drop in
just
a day,
like, man, it's here. No wonder they put a Love's truck stop on 154. You know, it's here.
It's here. Well, so when is it called the Cedar Stump?
It'll be the Cedar Stump Pub of Statesville.
Yeah. And when is it projected to open?
You know, I don't always like to put a date because there's always something that pops up. I mean, you know, and you know, you only get one first impression, and I want to make sure it's right.
Before the end of the year?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm hoping by June, July.
Okay, but we won't hold it to you.
Yeah, don't hold it to me. If I'm not, it's because I want to make it absolutely perfect.
Right. Or, Lord knows, you know, things always pop up that you didn't get that inspection, or you didn't do this.
I tell you what, I got a great engineer right now, Tony. He's crossing T's and dotting I's. So if everything goes to plan, it should be soon, real soon.
So that little place is really close to my house. So I hope that we will be able to frequent that place and help. And
I hope you do,
and promote it. We'll promote it for sure.
And I'll promote you. We'll get this podcast up in there and. We'll get the word out. I love scratching each other's backs.
Absolutely. And also helping out the States Vegas Radio Studio. If everyone can download the app, that would be great. But also, well, the one question I had is will you be, because I've never seen the back of it, will you be able to create that magic in I see the look.
Yeah, so I got the clear to be able to put a nice outdoor section. So don't take my man card, but I've got a lot of pins on Pinterest pinned, and hey, you know what? There's some great DIYs there, and yeah, I've got a lot of stuff planned for that outdoor section. Everybody likes to get outdoors and kick your feet up and relax, just like they do inside. So
it's true, and you know, I think you have a great idea And I hope it comes to fruition too, because there's nothing over there for us folks, and even those folks.
Who wants to drive, 5, 6, 7 miles, to have a couple drinks? I mean, there's so many neighborhoods in that little area. I feel like it could definitely blossom, man. I feel like it's a dynamite location. I just have that gut feeling. Sometimes you got to go with your gut.
Go with your gut.
And you know what? People think I'm crazy. They're like, Jeremy, you just got to open in Troutman. And like, I get it. I totally 100% get it. But you know what? This is kind of what fuels me.
Yeah, it's also a challenge too,
It is,
right?
and everybody loves a good challenge.
I do. I'm doing a challenge myself. My wife, she told me last night. Well, my cousin, I told him. She's like, you are crazy. I don't know what you're doing. But so I do intermittent fasting 5 days a week for anywhere between like 12 to 16 hours. I don't do it on the weekends. But I told myself, I was like, okay, well, this is getting not easy, but, I can manage it. So I was like, for the month of April, I'm going to challenge myself to 2 days a week. I will go 24 hours with nothing to eat. So
wow.
what I do is I drink water, I'll drink coffee, and I can have bone broth. And my doctor, Dr. Ryan Dollar in Huntersville, who's a great gentleman, and anybody has any issues, you should go see him. But he doesn't. He's 70. This man looks like he's 50. Maybe.
Wow.
Oh, he's phenomenal. Super dude, too. But I was like, all right, I'll challenge myself. And, my wife's like, why are you doing this? I was like, well, what else am I going to challenge myself with? I do the podcast. It's a challenge. I got the junk business. It's a challenge. I'm a husband. I'm a dad of twins. And I got a real job, that I have 40-plus hours a week at. And I was like, I need to do something different.
Go get her, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
So I was like, all right, so I'll do this. It's a month, right? So really and truly, it's only, there's 5 weeks in April, but it's 10 days, with 9 days of my life. So it's like, think about the people out there who are hungry every day.
That's it.
Who go more than 24 hours a day with no food.
Amen to that, brother.
Or think about, the soldiers who are out there doing, this is like a little something that, to challenge myself to see, can you do it? And don't get me wrong, man. Yesterday was rough, dude.
Yeah.
Yesterday was rough. Hours like 18 to 24, I was like, I'm going to eat my foot.
Yeah.
But then life happened, right? So I actually ended up going like 26 hours and some change without eating. But I ordered an Outback steak from the gym with some asparagus.
Prime rib.
I didn't get the prime rib. No, I'm a cheap bastard. I got the sirloin. But I got a sirloin bigger than I normally would get. But I got home, man. I was running in the door with that bag. I sat down. I turned on Netflix, and I poured myself a bourbon and a bottle of water, and I was just eating. My cousin called, and he's like, what are you chewing? I was like, motherfucker,
bro,
I ain't eating 26 hours. He's
brother,
like,
you don't get it.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's also about a challenge too, right? Can I do it? And there's, to my knowledge, I don't know if there's been a bar or pub or anything like that on that side of town ever. Maybe.
Now I got a couple of old timers that come into my pub. There's some regulars. Give a shout out to Ed, Roger, Steve, Dean. These guys come in and they've been living in Troutman and Statesville, since the 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. And apparently there used to be a pub where the butcher shop is.
Really?
On 64. Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that place and gotten any steaks?
No, but I tell you what, I'm definitely gonna go in there. Anytime on that side of town, I'm putting in work, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
When you get a chance, they're super cool people. They don't pressure you into anything, and the steaks are very good.
I did go check out the smoke. The smokehouse down there past the tractor supply place. I guess they're only open on Wednesdays and Saturdays down there.
The smokehouse.
There's like a little smoke shop down there. They had the best smoked chicken wings.
Is it down there on the left?
Yeah, down in the
Porta Pit place.
The Porta
right?
Pit.
Yes.
Good God, dude, you talking about some wings, buddy? I'm telling you. They had like half quarters and all. I always get the wings. But
when are they open?
I think it's Wednesdays and. My buddy Justin, he's got it down to a science. It's usually him going to grab it when we're out there, making art. So
I'll have to remind my wife.
Porta Pit
on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah,
because we're always looking for something, man. It's so hard when you
can't sit down there. You just got to get it to go.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
You know how hard it is. You're
absolutely.
married, you're running a businesses, and you're doing stuff. You got kids.
It's like you said, you got to be a father. You got to be a husband. It's you try to keep it all in line. It gets tough sometimes, but it's that challenge thing again.
It is a challenge thing, right?
Yeah.
You get pulled in different directions, but you try to be 100% in each direction.
That's it, or what I like to call 212.
What's 212?
So 212 is the temperature when water starts to boil.
Oh.
So at 211 degrees, water is hot. At 212, water boils, which then creates
steam.
Steam also powers locomotive engines, power plants. So that extra degree makes all the difference.
Look at this intellectual being, man.
Hey, it's just a book I read. I can't take it. But yeah, so you know, 212 is my number. I do some motocross, some enduro. 212's on my dirt bike. You know, my liquor closet in the Stump in Troutman. I got 212 on the door. It's the constant reminder. Take it that extra degree. You know what I mean? It makes all the difference.
So how long have you been in motocross?
Man, since I was a kid, on 80. You know,
really?
Yeah, always been the two wheels thing has been my thing. You know, I mean, I've got scars and broken bones and you name it. You know, but I don't know. It's therapeutic. Something about that. Being on that motorcycle, it's I don't know, man. For me, it's just I feel right at home, and
that's cool.
You know, whether it's mountain biking, I've picked up this mountain biking. I don't know if you know, but Lake Norman State Park is only about 5 miles from my pub there, and they got the top 10 mountain bike trails in North Carolina.
That's the top 10?
Yeah, so we got like over 30 miles of single track there, and you know, just being able to have that in my backyard and get out there and rip. And, you know, last year we did a bike-a-thon. I was the main sponsor for it. We raised money to complete another trail in the state park. It's just cool to give back to the community and you know, embrace the mountain bikers, the hikers, the kayakers that come through.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like everybody goes through our town of Troutman and goes straight to the park. And when they're finished, they roll right out. So now, you know, they got a spot to grab a cold craft beer or a nice spirit drink, perhaps, and create a little foot traffic. Maybe they'll go check out Randy's barbecue.
There you go.
You know, maybe they'll go over to the boutique we got over there. I mean, you never know.
You never know.
So, you know, it's the same thing. And you know, there was an awesome single track trail in the Statesville Park, which is right below where you know you live. The country club there, the Greenway, it's called Signal Hill Mountain Bike. Yeah, there's a trail out there, but it's been overgrown, and I'm looking to try to reamp that once I get open. So yeah.
I've got some buddies who have recently. I'm gonna give them a shout out. And I'm gonna say their names because they never listen, so I can say it. To Greg Wall and Philip Curley and to Steve Fortner, they actually took up probably about a year ago riding bikes, and they go to the state park and ride. I don't ride because I'm gonna tell you what. If something can go wrong, you're looking at them.
I get
it. Okay,
I
will. And when I mess up big. Like kind of what your scar shows there. Man, I got a metal plate in my head. I've got titanium plates in my face and screws.
Yeah, not screws. Metal, titanium plate. I get it.
You get it. Yeah. You know, your sanctuary or your place to be you and to like just relax to. You know, to get away.
I think what it is when you're out there behind the bars, you're not thinking about the everyday life issues. All you're thinking about is railing that next turn harder than you did the time before, you know?
You know, the place for me to go to get away is the gym. It's been that way since I was like probably 15 years old.
Absolutely.
You know, by no means am I a bodybuilder.
Nah, never want to be. You look good, though. You look real good.
Well, thank you. You can come back anytime. But it's my time, right? I get to just be alone.
You put your music on. You got your headphones. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're feeling that blood flow. I get it, man.
You get to just zone out. You can take out frustrations, or actually you get to work through stuff, right? Ideas come. That's my problem. Well, I can't turn the ideas off.
I'm not screaming sane. I've, definitely had my party days, so to speak, but there's no better buzz than that endorphin buzz.
It's true.
And to get in there and put in that work, put in that sweat, and come out and your body's tingling from head to toe, man. I mean, some people that they've never experienced it, they don't know what it is to have that full body workout. And, you go rip 14 miles of mountain bike trails. When you get done, I mean, you are on another level. It's unbelievable, brother.
I love
it. It's great, but you're spent, but you're ready to go do the next thing. It's like you got more energy than you did before. It's crazy. I can't even really explain it unless you've been there and done that.
It's kind of those runners who said they get a runner's high.
Absolutely.
I've never had it. All I've had is runner's pain.
Well, we got a run club every Tuesday at 6:30. Yeah. Yeah, so we can start you out small intervals and maybe get you into that runner side because I know what that's about too. It's
Do you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's some. I'll invite you to this run. It's called the Halloween Hobble. A friend of mine, Drew Combs, puts it on, and he was here. He was a guest, and it's in October, and they do a run. It's a 4-mile fun run. Then they run for you can run for 6 hours or 12 hours or do a 100-miler, and he's got a great story too. He's been on the podcast. But I'm going to run myself and my buddy Kevin Head. We're going to do it together, and I'm going to run for the 6 straight hours. I did the 4-mile run last year, so I'm going to run 6 hours. And I'm going to help raise money for a buddy of mine's charity. His name is Jeremy Coffey, and he has a charity called Good Souls. So I'm going to have people donate $1 per mile that I run, and that will go to him. And my goal is to run 20 miles, or to finish 20 miles. We'll put it that way. It ain't all going to be running, folks. But Jeremy's charity, and actually he's going to be at Red Buffalo this week.
I heard you're donating shoes. Good Souls, so it's spelled SOLES, right? I thought I read a little bit about that. Yeah. And I like Joe. Joe's a great guy.
Joe is a phenomenal human
top
being,
notch. Man. Top notch.
And I'll send you that podcast you listen to. But long story short, Jeremy started a nonprofit 2 years ago to where he is helping. He made a bridge. There's homeless men and women in Charlotte who, for whatever reason, are in transition, right? But they're clean. They're trying to get a job, and they go to a job interview. And most of the time, it's low skilled manual labor, right? They get the job, but they don't have steel-toed boots, so they lose the job.
Are you kidding me?
No. So he has found a small area, that needs help. And in 2 years' time, he has provided 1,000 steel-toed boots to the homeless men and women.
Out of here.
That's right, and created opportunities for them.
Jeremy Coffey, you are the man.
Right.
Yeah.
So this Saturday at Red Buffalo from 2 to 6, if you have a chance, come out and meet him, and we're going to be there. And my side business, Huck and Junk Hauling, has donated 12 pair of steel-toed boots to them. And you can, and what they do is when they open up the box, it says "You are beloved," and there's a little message that people handwrite in there of inspiration for these men and women.
Super cool.
So when they open it, it's not just the boots; it's inspiration, like to keep moving forward.
You got this. You can do it.
That's it. I
like it.
So if anybody's listening, bring your kids because it's a kid-friendly event. Let the kids write in the boxes. And, come and meet Jeremy and learn about the charity. If you want to donate $25, you can, because that's what a pair of steel-toed boots costs at Walmart, $25. So you're helping out men and women who are trying to get up on their feet. But the good part about it is Jeremy is now branching out to Statesville. So in the Fifth Street Ministries, and he's working through Will Long and some others there who are going to start bringing that opportunity to the men and women of Statesville who are trying to get up on their feet and
make something happen.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to help any way that I can him and these people with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I would definitely like to get involved with that. Maybe next year. I've got a wedding to DJ this Saturday, but man, if I could send one of my people out there to represent the Stump, man, that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
A lot of times when Joe's got that red IPA available, I put it on at the Stump, but he sells out of that beer so fast he can't even keep it in his spot. So
yeah, send someone up there, and we'll tag you guys in it, and maybe Jeremy's actually marrying a local girl from Statesville here in a few months, so I can get you guys hooked up, and maybe we could do something together at your place.
That'd be cool, man.
To raise awareness for you both.
Yeah, we just had a Fill the Boot campaign we did with the local firemen, and any kind of thing I could do
So what was that? Tell me about that.
So, I got a couple local firemen. They have a Fill the Boot, whether it's they pick their own charity, but they bring a couple fireman boots in there, put it on the bar, and all the money that anybody that's in there hanging out, they stick a couple dollar bills in the boots, and then the firemen go about and disperse it wherever they feel is most needed. Yeah. And anytime I could, it's all paying it forward, brother. It's like I said, man, treat people the way you want to be treated, and any of that, man. For me, it just feels good. It feels good at the end of the day,
And with you giving back too, you just won a pretty prestigious Rotary Award, right?
I did. Yeah,
someone did their due diligence.
Yeah, there you go. Rotarian of the Year. I didn't think
I didn't think that was going to
happen. Actually, I got Got my pin on T. Ross.
I saw that. So technically, are you? Is that the ROY Rookie of the Year, Rotary of the Year?
Hey, call it whatever you want. I'm proud of it.
Hey, and you should be. So honestly, explain to the people what the Rotary Club is. Like, what is that and what they're about?
So I would say their main goal is to end polio.
Really?
Yeah, so a lot of the money that we raise, I mean, there's guys going, overseas actually giving these kids polio shots or tablets, pill form to try to end this disease. I mean, all it takes is one vaccine and it's curable. But, so that's one part of Rotary. But the second part is, just giving back to your community, brother. You know what I mean? Like getting in there and beating the bushes and, whether it's us, putting on a little Halloween trail for the kids so they can come in through our park and everybody that's there is local business handing candy out. They don't have to worry about anybody, picking your kid up or something. Heaven forbid, nowadays you never know. I mean, as a dad, I feel like I'm helicopter dad. Sometimes I'm just so worried something's going to happen. So, from Halloween, trails of treat to doing our pancake breakfast, it's all that. We got a guy, Mike Todd, out of Royal Properties. He heads that, and to raise money and be a part of your community. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. And for me to be able to live in Troutman, own a business in Troutman, and be a part of a club like the Rotary Club, man, I'm blessed. It's great. I tell you, I'm super, super grateful.
So, it's interesting that you say one of their goals is to end polio, right? And most people would assume that that polio has been, eradicated. It doesn't even exist.
Here in the U.S. for sure, but yeah, overseas, it's still, these kids, it's a shame. I mean, it really is.
I'm having a discussion here in a few weeks. It's going to be in May. April and May are good months for the show, because there's some interesting people on with some interesting topics. And I have 4 friends who are healthcare professionals like myself who are way more educated and way smarter than I am. But they are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to vaccinations. And vaccinations are a big topic right now in the U.S., especially with the measles outbreak. So they have all reluctantly but yet agreed to come on to the show and to chat about, why they are on the side of the spectrum that they're on. Respectfully, ladies. It's going to be a good show, and I hope people tune in. But it's also not an opportunity to prove like right or wrong, but it's to understand why, for the people who are against vaccines are where they are and the evidence that they have and, what their truth is. And also the people who are for vaccinations, for their evidence and their truth of why we should vaccinate. So hopefully they will stick to coming on the show, but I think it's going to be very informative for people because it is such a hot topic right now. With
it's a very, very hot topic. And you know what? My wife and I, we're right in that. So we would definitely like to listen to that show.
It's going to be good. And the funny part is they're all 4 friends, but they're like, well, we want to be friends after your show. And I'm like, well, look,
it gets heated. You start talking about kids, you start about people's kids, and I mean, things get heated, and I understand completely.
But I was like, but you 4 will go to dinner and yell at each other across the table. It's just a different table, But each one of you have good points, and it's not about, picking a side. It's about information and having the discussion. Because one of the reasons and main reasons I wanted to even start this show was for people who are on opposite sides of the aisle. Maybe it's political, maybe it's spiritual, maybe it's, for the medical world. But to sit down and have a conversation, maybe learn from one another. I haven't really thought about
There's a
that
difference
way.
between a good debate and an argument. I mean, you know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
everybody likes a good debate. Just keep it professional. Keep it 100.
Right. Exactly. Keep it 100.
Yep.
I like that. Where'd you get that one?
Hey, I'm sometimes they just pop off the top.
I don't know if you came up with that. I gotta read more. So is there anything coming up at the Stump that you want to promote, or is there anything going on coming up soon?
Yeah. So we've got a couple things. This Thursday at 12 o'clock, it's my birthday. I turn a big 34 years young, and I'm gonna have Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
that. I'm going to have the Big Fam Danley Band there.
Yeah.
And they're going to come in. We're going to celebrate. Ty went on. So, yeah, if anybody wants to come out Thursday, I know a lot of people don't have to work Friday because it's Good Friday. So I got a great band coming in. We're going to celebrate my birthday and just celebrate, being American, in my opinion.
Which is always a good thing.
Oh, man, we're so lucky to be in this beautiful country, I tell you. But on the as far as Troutman goes, May 18th is our Front Porch Festival. It's grown so much that we're actually going to do it at the fairgrounds, which is located in the heart of Troutman. So yeah, once again, that's May 18th. You can check our Facebook page for the town, and I'll definitely post it on my Facebook page. It's the @ the Cedar Stump Pub. So I'm actually going to DJ in between the bands, and there'll be great vendors out there as far as arts and crafts, beer. We'll have, food trucks, the whole shebang. It should be a nice little gig, nice little powwow to have fun at. And another thing that's kind of close to us at heart at the Rotary Club in Troutman, June 1st is our Miles for Matt 5K. So Matt was a student at South Iredale that unfortunately passed away due to brain cancer. So this year he would have been a senior. So we're hoping to make it bigger and better than ever. And after we run the 5K, it'll be the grand opening for our disc golf course that we've got going. It's actually going to be called the Cedar Stump Disc Golf Course in Troutman. I'm the primary sponsor, so we'll open up the disc golf course right after the 5K for Miles for Matt, and all that's just raising money for a scholarship in his name. So definitely mark that on your schedule. It's a great 5K.
It's interesting that you say that, because I have a dear friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and he's a doctor, one of the smartest men that I've ever known, and he's battling currently oligioblastoma. I think that's how it's pronounced. I butcher it, but I donate to his charity every year, and it's he's recovering right now, and I texted with him today. And, cancer is one of those things that, it's just not fair.
It's not. It's not. And I tell you, not to get too personal, but I'm a cancer survivor.
Are you really?
Yes, sir. And for me, it's I'm super grateful to be here, man. I tell you, it could have went either way. And 10 months of chemo, open heart surgery. I'm here. I'm living. I'm breathing. I'm been 12 years now, cancer free. I got diagnosed at 21. So anytime I can give back and raise some money for any kind of cause like that, man, it hits home.
So what type of I didn't know that, and thank you for sharing.
I really don't share.
Well, right.
It's kind of one of those things. And now, granted, I mean the scar on my chest is a constant reminder. Every day to count your blessings and don't sweat the small shit, man. Just live each day to the fullest.
You just
never, so many times, and I have to check myself. And thank God I got a very, very strong wife, because she's constantly reminding me, like, Jeremy, everything's going to be fine. We were right where we need to be, So, but it was a germ cell tumor, and it was called Seminola. And it's the same thing Lance Armstrong had, but not to get too
it's okay.
rated R. But instead of the tumor growing on my testicles, it decided to go up my bloodstream and rest on a lymph node. So when I found it, it was the size of a softball.
How did you find it?
Man, at the time, my roommate had a bad chest cold, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "It's a good thing you came in. If you didn't, you would have had walking pneumonia." Yeah. So at the time, I started getting the same chest cold. And I'd had some pain in my chest. I was lifting weights big time during that early 20s. And I was like, it's just from working out. But, I started having that same chest cold, so I went and got a chest x-ray done to make sure I didn't have walking pneumonia. And the doctor comes back with an x-ray, puts it up on the board. He's like, you don't have a chest cold or anything like that. You got a mass the size of a softball. And I was like, can you hear the record spinning backwards? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's we got to get you somewhere quick. And the next day I went to Duke University Hospital and started my treatment, brother. And here I am, man. But yeah, not to get on me, to get back on the Miles for Matt. If you guys can come to that, anytime that we could raise money And for a cause like that, it's definitely it hits home and it feels good,
For sure. And I got to tell you, a friend of mine, Andrew Moose, who's a musician, and you should have him at your pub.
I'll get his information.
Yeah, Moose and Friends, and he's actually was the house band for John Reap Live in Hickory. Who won Last Comic Standing in either 2005 or 2007.
Do they still do that show? I don't think
they do.
Man, it was so good.
It was good, right?
Yeah.
But he is a testicular cancer 8-year survivor, and he was on the show, and that was the main reason for him to. I wanted him to come on, so he could talk about it. And I appreciate you saying to get it off of you and back onto Matt, but it's also important for you to be able to talk about it and to let people know, because there's so many people out there. Being a nurse, that's what I do every day. That's my job, right? And I work with men primarily in prostate cancer. Is we don't talk about.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. We're too strong, or we're too macho, or we just want to move past it, right? And it's one of those just cancer in general when it comes to men, unlike women. We kind of clam up, we move on from it. But it's good for you to talk about it, and it's good for you to get that word out there, because there could be somebody at home who's having, like you said, the chest cold, or they think it's pneumonia or whatever.
Yeah, the sharp pains, and you're like, where is that coming from?
Yeah. And it's not that we want to make everybody a hypochondriac, right?
No, but at the end of the day,
shit, that
absolutely,
chest X-ray,
absolutely.
You going to get that looked at saved your life.
Absolutely, and I got to thinking the other day. I get in these deep thoughts sometimes, and it's like,
for sure.
If I was born in the '60s, I don't know if the technology would have been there. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure not. Like my buddy who is the ER physician. His first symptom, probably 20 years ago, maybe 20 plus years ago. He was a resident, and he was hearing music, and he said it was the most beautiful music he'd ever heard. And this tumor was, pressing on a nerve, and he was just hearing this music.
Get out of here.
So he was actually going to school to be a radiologist. So he went and had a scan done, and it showed a tumor.
No way.
And this is the third time, I believe it's the third time that it's came back, and it's just one of those things. But like I said, it's just not fair.
It's not. And but I tell you what, I'll be honest with you, my brother. It's I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for nothing, because it has molded me into who I am today. Right. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. Back in my early 20s, even late teens, I thought I was invincible, brother.
Everybody.
And that day when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you don't even recognize yourself, or you're sounding that will, but in case you don't wake up during the surgery, it changes you. It really does. And at the time, I was dating my girl, or my wife now, and she was with me through the whole process, and I knew I was going to marry her after that. I was like, if I get out of this damn hospital, man, it's gonna, and she was like my second nurse. And I tell you, it's one of those things. It's like you said, never really talk about, but it's kind of a taboo thing. But there's a lot of people out there in this world that has had a family member or a friend that's gone through it. That's had the grief of cancer. Right. And I just hope one day we can figure out how the hell to get rid of it.
I hope so.
It's one of those things. But it's like I said, anytime I could give back to any kind of charity, it's great. But when it comes to especially kids with cancer, man, it's like, man, that tugs on the heartstrings, man.
So much, right?
Yeah.
And you don't understand it until you have kids.
Yeah.
We had a little scare a few weeks ago with my son. He had a little petechial rash. I think I may have talked about it a few weeks ago on the show. But I was like, being a nurse, I was like, oh shit, what is that? And he was sick, so I was like, it's either a viral rash or it could be something worse. So it went away, and then he got it came back a few weeks ago. So then I was like, all right, we need to call the doctor. And shout out to Maria Head, who is a good friend of ours, who is a nurse practitioner at a local pediatrician's office, and who is seeking new patients, if you want to go see her. But we reached out to her, and she was like, is it blanching? And I didn't do that at the time. So when he got home, I took a look at it, and it didn't. And I was like, shit. And she was like, he needs to go. So we called the next morning, and thank you to Gail Roberts, who saw him and was like, we were going to do lab work, and we're not going to do, here it is. If it's bad, we're going to go straight to Brenner's and Winston. Hopefully it's just a virus, and I think it's okay. But it's one of those situations, man, where you're like, it's that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
You know, where the needle goes off the record.
Absolutely.
You know, he's a 2-year-old kid. He's done nothing wrong. You know, he had a chance to live, and it's like,
right.
You know, and being a healthcare professional, it's one of those things where I understand, and I understood a few weeks ago when I thought it went away, and then it popped up. So then all that guilt starts riding in, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So like tonight, he's at home with the fever. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
like,
I get
you
it.
know.
I get it. I get it.
But you know, everything checked out, and he was okay. But it's just one of those things, man. You have to just count your blessings.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. And you know, it's like I love my family.
Yes.
You know, I love my mother. I love my sister, my father, my aunts, my uncles. I love my wife. But that love for a child, man, I can't even explain it. You know, unless you have a kid, it's on a whole nother level, my friend. I mean, you talk about a grown man that could cry in a quickness. You're looking at him, man. I'm telling you, when it comes to my kid, I mean, that little girl, she's everything to me, and I'm just super grateful that I'm having another little girl coming in September. I mean, I'm super blessed. I can't wait. I mean, I can wait, but I can't wait. You know,
I get it.
It's one of those things. But yeah, that love for a child, anytime anything involves your kid, it's a whole nother spectrum, brother.
It is. It is. You know,
whole nother level.
When I come home and I hear them, you know, they're like, Daddy, and they come running.
It's like they're just waiting to see you.
Oh, is it not the best?
Dude, every day.
It is the best feeling in the world. Yeah. And you know what? There are times, like, my son's in a very clingy phase right now, and it's tough, you know, because even in public or in family events, it's tough. It's one of those things where I take a pause in the moment, and I go, very soon, he is not going to even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So even though it may be difficult at this moment, eat it up and relish this short-term problem or issue. It's not even a problem, but because there's going to come a time that he doesn't want to talk to you.
Y'all going to butt heads.
We'll butt heads. But it's like, Daddy, you know, and it's going to be like, dude, there was a time where I couldn't even get you off my hip.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
And so those times are tough, but man, it's tough, but I ate it up at the same time, if that makes sense.
Dude, it makes total 100% sense. I get
it. So with your daughter, is she a daddy's girl or is she a mommy's girl?
It just depends on, I would say, the time period. I mean, at night, you know, when we're all in bed, I mean, she'll love on Sheena, but then, you know, she'll crawl on me and lay that head on my chest and fall. I mean, brother, and I mean, if there is bliss, it's that moment right there.
That moment.
You know.
And let me ask you this, though, too. As someone who strives to be better, you know, get to that 212 moment, right? Is there a part of you that looks in that moment and goes, man, I should come off the throttle a little bit?
Brother, I kiss her every day. I tell her how beautiful she is, what a princess she. I mean, listen, man, it's all about building her self-esteem up and letting her know that she is loved. You know, and if anything, I'm putting it in fifth gear and slamming the throttle even harder.
See, I'm glad you say that. And my wife, who may never ever listen to this episode, but there's a part where I get to where people go, you know, you're doing all this stuff. You know, you got your real job, you got the junk call, you got the podcast, your husband, but it's like, I'm wanting to put the pedal down.
Yeah.
So they understand, for them, really, in the long term, not just, you know, financially, but it's also like, you know, Dad did a podcast while we were babies. Like, you know, it's
you want them to be proud of you, man.
Proud, but also like, if he did that, I could do that and more.
Right.
You know, there is time. There is an opportunity to go out there and do stuff and strive to be better. And achieve more and stretch yourself and challenge yourself.
Absolutely. Well, for me, it's like I've got to be the guy that she looks to. You know, when she gets old enough to date, this like, hey, you know, this is the example that I'm gonna look for. You know what I mean? I'm the first guy she's gonna fall in love with. You know, and for me, it's like I've got to show her what love is and how a woman and a lady's supposed to be treated. You know, and. You know, that's one thing I'll admit. I've got some faults there. There's sometimes I'm at the bar way too late or I don't get to tuck them in at night. And that, you know, that's heavy, man. It's heavy shit. But at the end of the day, I'm working. I'm trying to make our family better. I'm trying to, you know, make the right move. Sometimes it's not checkers, it's chess. You know, you got to do different moves in order to get where you want to be in life. And but you know, for me, it's as far as the love goes, man, there's no limit.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that inspires me too is like, you know, I do this out of fun in a way, you know, and so I miss like tonight.
Well, you're good at it too.
Well, I don't know if I'm good at it, but you know what though? When I'm dead and gone many years from now, this should hopefully last forever. So they're going to be able to go out there and find Daddy either on the internet or on the podcast, and they're going to be able to hear my voice. It's a cool way to
think about it, bro.
You know, and they're going to be able to hear me and go, you know what? He might have been a son of a bitch.
But it's out of love.
But it's out, or, you know, or whatever. But they're going to be able to hear my voice.
That's it,
you know
dude.
What I mean?
Absolutely.
And they're going to be able to see me, maybe.
Well, you know, I tell my daughter, you know, at 3 years old, you've really got to calm them down. I'm like, hey, look at me in my eyes.
Right.
You
I
know?
did that tonight.
And I'm like, Ezra, I've always got your back. You know, and I say that to her because I want her to know, like, I've got her back no matter what.
No matter what.
I might be disappointed. I mean, heaven forbid, I heard when they turn 12 and 13 with girls, it gets to a whole other level. But I want her to know I'll always love her no matter what she decides, where she wants to go, what avenue she wants to take. I've got her back. You know what I mean? And she's going to know that because I'm instilling that in her right now at an early age.
And that's good brainwashing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're planting that seed, just watering it.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? She smiles when I say it. Yeah.
That's sweet. Man. And Julius, you have girls, man. What's it like?
It was good when they were little.
Yeah.
It's rough now with a teenager.
Well, that's what I hear. Yeah.
But even so, I mean,
I heard the same thing too. You know, enjoy it while you can. I said, oh no, she'll always be my girl, but they drift a little bit.
But I hear they come back, like, you know.
Yeah, well, they have their moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Want their friends to see them.
Yeah.
There's going to be that time where the kids don't, and that's why I say now in this moment, like, and I'm sure there's people out there listening who will be listening, who are like, oh man, I get what he's saying. You know, it's tough right now, but you relish that moment because it ain't going to be there forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. As crazy as it sounds, it's nuts. I'm going to be changing diapers, you know.
Again.
You know, we got her potty trained, and she's so, like, independent. She'll close the door. I want to do it by myself, you know.
Isn't that cool? My daughter's
cool.
The same way.
Yeah.
My son, he could care less, man. But my daughter's like, no, Daddy, I do it.
I do it. Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah. I'm right there, bro. But, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and to see my wife, I mean, she's glowing. I mean, she is pregnant right now. But I love it. You know what I mean? It's great. It's just super cool to relive all those things that, you know, you're almost, I mean, it's in the past now, you know, with Evans. I mean, she's 3 years old. She's not a baby. She's a toddler. I mean, we're singing Eagles Hotel California together. You know what I mean?
So here's what's funny is like I'll go pull the kids, and I'm sure now that it's nice weather again, I'll be doing it. But I'll pull the kids, and they get to share a tiny little like unicorn Bluetooth speaker, and I blare like Def Leppard or Motley Crue, and they're like fighting over it, and I'm trying to brainwash them into like my music.
This is good music.
This is good music.
Yeah.
Don't listen to that. Other
absolutely.
Crap.
Yeah.
So if you would have not met your wife, where do you think you would be right now?
I'll tell you what, who knows, man? You know, a man's only as good as the girl that backs him, you know,
That's
and
true.
I tell you what, I knocked it out of the park, man. It wasn't even a home run. It was a grand slam. I mean, my chick pushes me. She's just, she's my rock, man. I mean, she's believed in me a lot of times when I didn't believe in myself, you know what I mean? And, she's always seen it, and I mean, from the time we met, she has been that girl, you know, and super grateful. I mean, I who knows, man? Hell, I don't even know if I would be here. You know what I mean? I was wild in my 20s. You know, if it wasn't dragging a knee on the track on a sport bike, it's, you know, hitting a 100-foot triple on a dirt bike. I mean, dude, I love adrenaline. I'm an adrenaline junkie. You know what I mean? And you know, my girl, she keeps me grounded, man. You know, she's everything you would want in a teammate, in a spouse, in you know, in a partner in life. I mean, she's the yin to the yang, bro.
Dude, you said the biggest part to me is the teammate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a team.
Oh, dude, it is a team. And there's some days, you know, we're at each other's throats, and that's life. I mean, that's being married. That's having kids. That's dealing with everyday situations, bills. I mean, you know, all that. But, you know, we always tell each other we love each other, and we squash that shit and kiss each other, and hey, we're done. You know, like let's keep moving forward. You know, a lot of times you got to forget the past in order to move forward.
How long have you been married?
We got married in May of what are we at? 6 years now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
so now, this coming May will be your 6th year.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. October will be my wife and I 6th year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah. Good deal, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it might be 7 years.
Ooh.
I don't know. I love you, babe. Don't get mad at me.
That's right. The years don't matter.
But you know what? I mean, the whole marriage thing. We're married. We got the rings now. But hell, we've been married since we were 20 years old. You know what I mean? We've been a team since the early years. Yeah. So
if and you're what, only 34? Is that right?
Yep.
So you're a young man in the world of age and numbers. What type of advice would you give the 19-year-old Jeremy?
If I could go back, I would probably tell myself sometimes you gotta lose the battle in order to win the war.
Oh man, that's actually good advice. Is there one thing that you ever thought, or if you look back and go, I wish I would have completed that, or I wish I would have moved forward with that?
I would probably say my schooling.
Schooling?
Yeah, you know, it would have been nice to have that bachelor's degree. It would have been nice to have that nice, you know, certificate on the wall there. But it never happened. But on the other hand, I'm super grateful for the road that did happen. I mean, when I started my business early, I mean, it was to the point, I mean, it's all I could do to manage the DJ side of things. Sure. And, you know, I was able to put money away, pay off my debt, you know, establish good credit, the things that I needed to do in order to be where I'm at now. So, you know, you say that. Right. But who really knows?
But, you know, it's interesting, too, like research and studies have shown, and even Mike Rowe I was listening to a show that he was on, and it's like all these, it's not brainwashing, so to speak, but like with this college scandal that's going on with the Hollywood elites and CEOs who are paying for their kids, like big numbers for them to go to school.
Full house.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but they were going, you know, some people go to school and have $100,000 in student loans to come out to make nowhere near that and pay on it for so long.
So where is that? Why is that the right way?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, like if you would have gotten that 4-year degree, right, would it have changed where you are today?
You know what? At the end of the day, it probably wouldn't.
It probably wouldn't have. And I too. I don't have a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a part of me that feels like...
You want it. You know what I mean?
It's one of those things.
It's like,
right.
I want it.
It's like I got 9 fingers. Yeah. You know, I'm missing it. Like there's something missing.
I get it. I'm right there. I'm right there. And who's to say I won't go back and get it?
I may go back and get it. You know? But for no one else but for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I will say I got that degree on the real life. You know, being in the trenches, in the ditches. I mean, you know, in that nightclub world, it's man, it's a whole nother chapter. It is a whole nother entity, bro. But
that's what the 4-year degree and even the master's degree can't give you, because you can come out being the smartest dude in the class, but brother, if you can't find the mailbox,
that's it.
Don't make a damn.
Well, you know, I don't like to say quote unquote street smarts, but there's a little bit of that in there, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta live it. You gotta be in there. You've gotta have those situations that has made your heart skip a beat. You know, sure. And you know, you can be book smart all you want, but if you can't look somebody in the eye and talk to them one-on-one, You ain't getting nowhere, bro.
Nowhere. You know what? And bless her heart for all her faults, and I love her to death. But my mom has given me the street smarts.
Yeah.
You know her.
Rita.
I know Rita.
Yeah, Rita's awesome, man. And let me tell you, she talks nothing but highly. I'm talking, she is so proud of you, brother. And thank God, I met Rita because she was the one telling me about your podcast. And I was like, listening to her. I was like, Rita, this guy's good.
A lot of people, it's funny though, my mom had me at a very young age. She was 16. And honestly, we've grown up together.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of times where people look at us and go, you're kind of raising her. And
Rita's she's the real deal, Holyfield. Though.
She is.
You ain't getting shit past her.
No, you're not.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like she will call a spade a spade. Yeah. Man. And you know what? For me, I would rather deal with people like that.
Oh, for sure.
Like she's gonna tell you whether she talks about you to somebody else, she'll tell you right in your face. It's
true.
You know what I mean?
However, though, it's a little different when you're at the bar and she's dancing on it, and you're like, "Mom, yo, Ma, get off of there! What are you doing?"
Hey, she still got it, man.
She still got it. I love her to death, and you know what though? I wouldn't change a thing.
Nah, Rita's good people, man. You're lucky.
She is. I am very fortunate. But even tonight, she and I argue like brother and sister, man.
I get it.
We do not fight.
Hell,
like
me
mom.
and you, we argue sometimes.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. But now that I know you, I know that when she's at your place, she's in good hands.
Oh, dude, I walk her to her car. Let's put it that way.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I gave her a ride home, man.
Hey, you know what?
Lytton Farm, it's not too far.
It's not. And she's a jewel, and people should appreciate her. But even so, more people like her, because she's a lady with the story.
That's it, and those people that don't like the truth, maybe they can't handle the truth. You know what I'm saying?
That's. What was it? Jack Nicholson, A Few Good Men said, "You can't handle the truth," but buddy, she'll tell you.
Oh, that's it. And you know what? I would rather you shoot me in my head than shoot me in my leg and let me bleed out, man. You know what I'm saying? Just give it to me.
Just give it to me.
Yeah. And Rita's, she's got that quality. She's not gonna BS you. She's gonna tell you her honest opinion. Let's put it that way.
Whether you want it or not. And sometimes you don't want it.
I respect it though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few. There are many times where I gotta be like, y'all, she's gonna tell you, and you might not like. I gotta
give you a heads up.
Yeah, here's a heads up about mommy. She's pulling up on that Harley, jumping off the back, smoking a cigarette, telling you what you ought not to be doing.
And you better not give her a Miller Lite in a bottle. You better pour that thing in a glass.
That's it. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, brother.
Cheers to mom.
Absolutely, Rita, we love you.
I do love you, mom. Even though I chewed you out earlier, I still love you. But I want to say, man, I like what you're doing. I like your attitude and your positivity. I appreciate what you're doing on that side of Statesville and bringing something over there to those people.
I feel like no one's gave that side a chance, man.
They haven't,
and I'm ready. I'm jumping off the high dive again, guys.
Do it.
But I think it's going to be great. There's a lot of neighborhoods in that area, and everybody wants their local little watering hole. I'm all about the neighborhood pub. I've got a guy that comes in and I call him Norm when he walks in. I mean, this is Cheers. You know what I'm saying? It's a Cheers style bar, and in Troutman, I'm super grateful for my regulars. I mean, they literally fuel the place. I mean, it is literally it's ran on regulars coming in, and they almost take ownership in it. I mean, it's their place.
And people are going to support and be there at a place like that, man. Yeah. If you were stuffy and didn't make people feel welcome, it wouldn't last, bro.
Hey, look, man, I put my pants the same way you do, man. One leg at a time, man. It's one of those things. It's like I said before, and I always say it, man. Just treat people the way you want to be treated, man. That's the golden rule. If we'd all do that, man, the world would be a better place,
Well, I'm going to tell you what, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you bringing something to Troutman that desperately needs it. And I appreciate you bringing something to the other side of Statesville that needs it. And more importantly, I appreciate you sharing your story about cancer. Because there's people
I don't do that often, but I don't know, man. It felt right now, man. You make me feel comfortable here.
Well, I appreciate it. And I want you to come back on sometime, and I'll introduce you to Jeremy, and I'll get you more information about the Aliglio cure and see what we can do together to help people.
Yeah, I think if we could put our heads together and brainstorm some ideas, man, who knows what we can do next year?
Oh, brother. Yeah, it's going to be a big year.
Absolutely,
right?
Man.
And congratulations to you and to the baby.
Yeah, Sage Willow.
Sage Willow.
Yeah, she's coming.
She's coming. Whether you like it or not, man, she's coming.
Dude, I can't wait.
That's right. We can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeremy, cheers. Well, we're empty.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, brother.
Hey, shake hands, brother. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Had a great time.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Also, I would like to thank you to States Vegas Clothing Company for supporting me this year and providing me with all of my clothing gear. Also, to Hunk of Junk Calling. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get rid of all of your clutter. One call removes it all. 704-657-6778. And to Kasey.tate at Farm Bureau Insurance. If you need car, auto, life, or any insurance, maybe save some money, give Kasey.tate a call at 704-902. As I look up his number now, because I forgot. That's terrible. 704-903-2029. And also check you guys out, hopefully, at Saturday at Red Buffalo from 2 to 6 for the Good Souls boot signing event. Thank you, everybody. Download the States Vegas radio app. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, CastBox, and Spotify. So anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can find us. Thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate it.